I want to talk about the early days with Puffy and all that, because I thought it was cool. Because like I said, Jason, we 20 something years ago, you were on my my radio show at the time, and we did, and it was right when you first signed with Puffy, and you were all excited, and it was a big milestone type of thing because you guys were the first rock band that ever to sign with Bad Boy. Yeah,
the only one.
Yeah, the only one.
Let's please welcome Puff Daddy, the Locks, Lil Kim, and Bad Boy Rockers Fuzzbubble. Give it up.
What was that like? Because you know, I was watching the video today, and it looked like Puffy was just kind of living out his rock star dream, using you guys like as the band so he could rock out. What was it like working with Puffy, and how did you guys first even meet Puffy, and how did that whole thing happen?
You know, you got to go back in time a little bit and just put yourself in the time frame, right? At the time, we move out from New York, we meet Jimmy, we're going to move out to California and form the band officially, and we want to get a record deal, of course. So we're shopping a bunch of labels, and the story goes that the A&R guy, Puffy, wanted to start a rock division of his label. Mind you, he's not an artist at the time. This is before he's doing any, he would get on a track and, you know, rap a little bit or whatever, but he was mostly like being funded by Clive Davis and Arista. And he was like the guy with the Midas touch. He had all these people he was working with, and anything he touched was on fire. And we had like lukewarm or okay responses from all the labels we wanted to be on, you know, labels like Capitol and, you know, stuff like that, rock labels. And the legend has it, whatever, that the A&R guy had a stack of CDs in Puffy's studio. They were going through them and like, play 10 seconds of it. No, next. They got to our CD, the CD that Dave R made on Royalty Records, the original one. And he played 15, 20 seconds, whatever, of Bliss. And he said, okay, stop it. That's the band. I want that band. Get that band. So at the time, like we know who he is, but like not, you can't think of it by any, I don't even remember if he was Puffy.
No, so I'll actually interject. So this was, I
it.
think it was September of '96. We all knew Puffy he was a Vibe, you know, on the cover of Vibe magazine.
Right.
I think it was, yeah, I don't know if he was called, maybe he was Puffy, but we just knew he was you know, he wasn't an
the
artist.
guy with Notorious B.I.G.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So
the guy behind Notorious B.I.G.
Right.
Who was huge.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
So Biggie was huge then when you guys were coming.
Biggie was
starting to become big. Starting to become big.
Yep. He was starting. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So the Bad Boy label was just starting to break.
Right.
And he had been, Puffy had, Puffy had been at, what was it, MCA previous? And that's where he really got his start and his reputation. I think he signed Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where he got all his juice from. Then he started his own label. And when we came into the picture with him, he was this guy that was kind of ready to blow up, but hadn't yet. Like our manager called me up and I didn't know who he was. He said, he's a big hip hop producer. He's like one of the biggest guys in the business. I'm like, well, what business does he have with us? Right. He said, I don't know, but he's on his way up. He's got a lot of money and a lot of juice. Right. And also let's go play for him.
And also one other thing. So I remember so this was September when we went to play for him. So I know at that time there was a Tupac shooting, and this was still East Coast, West Coast. Tupac had gotten shot at. I don't know if he was killed, but he had gotten shot at. And I remember everyone was joking at us, like, we got to wear your bulletproof vests to the audition. We'll go with it, you know?
Yeah, because that's the time
no, seriously. So we
were there.
Fucking,
and it's crazy how much that actually ties into the story. So
yeah,
we're courting, you know, we're being courted, but we're trying to court labels with our managers. You know, we're having, dreams of being on the Capitol label with the orange and yellow swirl, because that's Beatles, that's Beach Boys.
Yeah.
At one point, I don't remember if it's at that time, but at one point the Foo Fighters end up on Capitol. So we're like, that's where we want to be, whatever. But then the notion kind of crosses our minds of that. Well, if you're the only rock band on a label, and this guy's, fired up to take over the world and like would use phrases like that. Like, okay,
Right.
you know what I mean?
The criteria of making a bad boy record is really paying attention to the details.
So I'll give you a condensed version, but this back and forth goes for a while. And like Mark said, we're playing for him. And in many cases, they're just like private showcases. It's like us at the end of a long room and him at the other end with 2 bodyguards and just nodding to us like, play another one, play another one, play another one. A little awkward, but we're like, whatever, you know, it's cool. And he was cool to us, you know, whatever.
So
Which
he was
fun.
playing that whole game with you guys, that kind of head games, the power trip stuff, like sitting at the end of the big table and you guys
I mean,
playing for the
I
king.
don't think
That's the way
I
it
don't think it
was.
I
Yeah,
don't
he
think it
was-
was meant to be like intimidating,
Right.
but but I do think that like the two worlds were like, we were both equally unfamiliar with the way we work.
Right,
Right.
right.
So
Yeah.
we're not like in the hip hop world and he's not in the rock world. So it's just like, hi.
Right. Yeah. He wasn't coming to the Mercury Lounge to
Right.
see one of our shows.
Yeah, he wasn't going to say exactly. He wasn't
No.
going to.
He's
Right.
He's
You
I'm gonna
have
set
to go to
something up.
Puffy, and
You
that was
go to
always the
him.
way. You got to go to him. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we go back and forth and to his credit, I will say this was a pretty smart idea. He's really interested in the band and he got fired up again by the initial record. It never got released, but it was going to be the indie release on royalty. He gets fired up by that. And then he's like, okay, well, we want to put you guys in the studio and see what you come up with. This is before we get signed or anything. So it's kind of a good idea, like to see, like, well, do you guys just have 10 songs and that's the end of the story? Like, what if I told you to write something tonight kind of thing?
Right. Yeah.
What would you come up with? So we end up getting put in the studio down by the Port Authority bus terminal. It's called Daddy's House. It was his like proprietary label studio. And we're in the studio with Notorious B.I.G. sometimes. Like he's there. And same thing. It's like, hey. And he's like, hey, what's up? And we're like, rock band. He's like, B.I.G. We're like, cool.
Yeah.
That's it. You
That's
know?
cool, man.
Excuse me. So we're, putting together some material and it's going back and forth. But ultimately he says, we're going to sign a deal and we're very excited about this. There's a lot of things swirling around him. And again, magazine covers and MTV and all this stuff. And it really looks like, yeah, he's got the magic touch. And so we're going to do this. And Mark, what did you say? Like a year passed between like the courtship and the signing?
September of 96, we auditioned from March of 97 the next year, which is what, 6-7 months later. That's when Biggie gets shot.
One of the best-selling rap artists was killed in Los Angeles in a hail of gunfire.
Yeah, you're cutting. Don't ruin the ending yet.
Well, all right, so I don't want
Nah,
to.
he knows. Who knows? Yeah, who doesn't know he got shot?
Right.
Okay, don't worry about that.
So yeah, so Biggie gets shot in March of 97. That slows things up entirely
Right.
because
Okay, so yeah. So
Yeah,
that's what
and-
I was getting to. So here's the dramatic version of that.
yeah. I'm
We're
just
gonna
trying to give a
sign-
shorter version, you know.
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so close.
Yeah,
So
I know.
close.
No,
So
I'm
they say,
digging
hey,
it.
hey, we're gonna sign you guys. It's a big deal. They're like, we're gonna fly. We were back in New York doing the demos at Daddy's house. We're gonna fly you out to LA. They're gonna have this big party on Wilshire and La Brea at the Auto Museum.
Peterson Auto Museum.
Thank you. And we're going to take pictures. It's going to be in Vibe magazine. And Puffy is announcing, I'm starting a rock division and this is the rock band. Boom. We're like, amazing. And so we go out and we fly out. And like last minute, they're like, actually, you know what? We're not going to announce it in Vibe. You guys don't have to go to a party. It's really a very heavy hip hop thing. And so is Vibe magazine. So instead, actually, we're going to announce you guys in Rolling Stone. So we're like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's like dream come true, right?
Right.
I'd rather be in Rolling Stone. We're a rock band.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's huge.
So we don't go to the party. But at that party, they shoot into the SUV and they try to kill Puffy and they kill Biggie.
Damn. So that was the party that. Yeah.
That was the party we were
We were
supposed
supposed
to
to
go
go to that.
and take the pictures. Now, there's no way we were going to be in that SUV. I'm not saying that.
right.
But it was that night. And what it did do subsequently is shut down the label.
Yeah.
All business stopped and a murder investigation ensued.